How's your Spanish?
Horrible.
Horrible? It's all right.
Non-existent.
Non-existent. I doubt that. Here, you can use this mic right here and those headphones. Ladies and gentlemen, so let's start with business first. First, the business. We have a special guest today here on the show. His name is Mark Henry. Of course, you guys know him from initially WWE and now with AEW All Elite. Mark Henry in the house tonight. Vámonos. Mark.
No!
Welcome, Mark, to TUDN Radio. They didn't tell you this was in Spanish?
No, they didn't tell me. I would have brought my son.
Oh, he speaks Spanish?
Yeah,
Oh,
fluently.
awesome. Really? How do you learn?
He's been speaking Spanish since, or taking Spanish in school since he was in junior high.
Awesome.
Sings in Spanish. I have to pull up a video of him singing with Thunder Rosa.
Really?
Yeah, man. He's doing karaoke in Spanish.
Karaoke. Hey, speaking of Thunder Rosa, I heard she took you to some taco place for her taco blog.
Oh yeah, we go all the time.
How many?
I told her I was a Blaxican.
Well, you're from what? Silsbee, Texas, right?
I'm from Silsbee, but I've been in Austin for 31 years.
31 years. Oh, you've been there that long?
Yeah, I'm old, man. I'm a lot older than I look.
No, there's no way, dude. You're way younger than most of us. So, Mark, first of all, welcome to Houston once again. This is I'm sure it's like your second home since you're so close to Houston.
Yeah, Houston is always the big city where I'm from.
So let's start with business. You got AEW show tomorrow night at the Fort Bend Epic Center.
Oh yeah.
And what can we expect tomorrow night from AEW Dynamite?
You know what, man? It's a party atmosphere. That's the biggest thing. Like I go to a lot of the F1 shows, and I go to the a lot of the soccer matches in Austin, and the only thing that I can compare the crowd to is a soccer match. Like the way, the energy, the constant chanting, and the talent-wise, like it's a different style to me. What I grew up doing and what I grew up seeing was more, mat wrestling, a lot of storytelling. Now the storytelling involves flips and flying and the more of the lucha style. Right. So I love it.
So you're glad you're not doing that anymore, huh?
I'm so glad I'm retired.
When did you retire? What year was that?
I stopped 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Because you're in the Hall of Fame already.
Yeah.
And so 5 years ago you retired. Was it
first
something?
Ballot.
Was it a decision you made? Did someone ask you, hey, you know what, maybe tone it down, or was it just your body telling you?
No,
hey,
it was me, because I have a bad back that I'm going to have surgery on, and I could have kept wrestling. I could probably still wrestle now, but it just hurts.
Yeah.
And when you're an older guy, 52, you don't recover like you did when you were 28.
Yeah.
So I might be able to do it, but the next 2 or 3 days, I would pay for it severely.
So it's kind of like getting drunk right now. At this point, if I get drunk on a Friday, I won't recover till Tuesday. It's kind of like that, but with your body, right?
Yeah, but with your body. Same thing.
Makes sense. That makes total sense. So you grew up in Silsbee. It's a small town about 90 miles away from Houston. And basically, you from the get-go, most of your family is about your size, if not bigger, right?
Yeah, I got some big people in my family. A lot of them here in Houston. There's a lot of the Adams are here, right here in Houston.
So, at what point did you once you competed, professionally, Olympic weightlifter? Are you still the strongest man in the world?
No, I'm old, man.
Do you hold any? You still hold some records?
I
right?
still hold records.
Okay.
There's still records out there that's going to be pretty hard for people to beat.
I was looking at some of the records, 900 and something pounds on the deadlift.
Yeah,
that's insane. That's insane, man. Like
that's the vision of records. They make you go, no way. That didn't happen.
I'm thinking of a small vehicle, right? Like a Toyota Corolla.
There's videos of me online and stories people told that saw me pick up cars, and like the side of a vehicle, or pick the engine side up of a car. A lot of people they can pick up the back of a car because the majority of the weight is at the front of the car. I always there's a picture of me when I was a young guy. Like,
you look the same.
I felt bulletproof back then.
And you still look bulletproof right now.
No.
So a lot of guys that I talk to, they talk about, hey, they were bullied when they were kids.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure no one bullied you, huh?
No, I was bullied.
You were bullied?
Yes, sir, I was.
Really?
And I mean, because I was always so big that people thought that I was older than I was. You know, I was 220 pounds in the 5th grade.
Wow. So you're like a fully grown man in 5th grade.
I was a big dude,
but
I was still a baby.
How they bully you though? I mean, I'm just trying to think.
You know, just the way people talk to you, the way people try to steer you. You know, I got called names.
But they didn't think he's gonna kick my ass at some point.
No, they didn't. But you know what? It was God was able to give me the platform for people to have to look up at me.
So you went to powerlifting, obviously an Olympic athlete, and then how did that transition into wrestling, into professional wrestling?
The powers that be in wrestling saw me on television, and they were like, "Man, this dude is tailor-made. He is 100% tailor-made for wrestling." And you know, they reached out to me, and you know, the rest is history.
Who was the first phone call? Who called you? Who was the first phone call you got?
Jim Ross.
Jim Ross.
Jim Ross is a storied, famous announcer.
Yeah, we love Jim Ross.
And Jim,
he's got a good barbecue sauce, by the way.
Man, it is pretty damn good.
Yep.
And honey mustard is good too. I don't know if you've had.
I haven't tried the honey mustard.
It's good barbecue sauce.
Nice. As a matter of fact, I think your first match was against Jerry Lawler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was part of. Well, he was with Jim Ross, one of the pair of announcers at WWE they're historic ones.
Yeah, and that was my first match, and you know, like a lot of people, they work their whole lives to be able to have a pay-per-view match. Just one pay-per-view match, and my first match was a pay-per-view with Jerry Lawler, who is arguably one of the top 10 most famous wrestlers by name that you'll ever hear.
You came in I think you came in probably in one of the best eras of wrestling, right when the switch was happening, huh?
Right when the turnover, like every about 15 years, there's a turnover. And from the territory days to the attitude era was probably the best transition that I could have been in. I love the ruthless aggression era, but the attitude era was everything.
What's AEW like if you compare it to WWE? At least the backstage, the camaraderie. Is it different? Is it similar? I mean, I know a lot of the guys are still the same ones you've been working with for years.
It is very similar. Like it's just younger. You know, AEW is a young company. The people that were kind of the founders of the company are young people. You know, under 30 years old. So, as an older person coming from another walk of life, they respect where you've been, but they also give you that. Oh, come on, man! That was the way the old people used to do it. They give you that kind of stuff every now and then.
The young guys, they don't want to listen to the old folks, huh?
But you know what? That's the thing. They do listen. And it's breathtaking.
I mean, you guys have some amazing, legendary talent in the locker room.
Yeah, man.
You have Edge, Christian. You have
Paul White,
Sting,
and Dean Malenko, Goldust, Dustin Rhodes.
I mean, that's you guys. AEW has for a young guy starting wrestling. That's where you want to be.
You want to be where the people are masters, and they can take the mistakes that you're going to make and eliminate it. I tell people all the time, I'm here so you don't make the mistakes that I made.
Like what?
Spending money too early when you're spending all, man, if I got it, I spent it.
Really? So it was coming in and going right out?
It was going out. I was going to have a good time.
All right, so your first big paycheck, what did you buy?
I bought a $25,000 watch.
You still have it?
I still got it.
Yeah, well, at least, it's a timepiece, right?
Yeah, and it's more valuable now.
Yeah, so, but when you buy certain things, they keep their value.
Yeah, young people, we tend to do stuff that's impulsive and kind of reckless. But, you get to the point, I got 30 years old, I started slowing down.
When did you feel like all right, I've made it. I can finally start slowing down a little bit, take a little break, and not go as hard as I used to? When did you feel that? Or was it always intense for you up until the last day?
It was always intense for me because I never looked at retiring until it was staring me in the face. I never thought. Once I saw a video of me, and I was like, damn, I look a little slower than I normally did. I started thinking right then, I'm one more year and I'm done. Because I didn't want to, I watched wrestling growing up as a kid, and I saw when the guys got old, I knew they got old. And I was like, oh,
I don't want to be that guy.
And I did not want to be that guy.
I don't want to be that person that people say, oh, look, he's getting old. He's slowing down. And then you got people like Ric Flair that's like 150 years old and still wrestling. It's like
Sting. We have Sting. And Billy Gunn.
As a matter of fact, you're right, because I remember being a kid. I grew up here in Houston. I remember being a kid watching WCW, and Sting still had the blonde hair, that same Ultimate Warrior type style face paint. And I was like, man, this guy's amazing. You know, he's got that banging body. He's just all over the place. Here we are, 2023, and he's still
exactly the same
doing it. And I was here, and that match he had at Toyota Center with Seth Rollins, where he got injured, and I was like, oh man, that's it. I just witnessed his retirement, and it didn't happen. Here
10 years later, 15 years later, and he's still doing it.
He's still doing that at a high level.
Yeah, jumping off the top of scaffolds and mezzanines and stuff. And listen, I'm not jumping downstairs. If it's like 2 or 3 steps, I'm gonna walk carefully down those stairs. I'm not jumping.
Let me sign off the radio real quick. We're going to continue doing this live, and also you can also see this on YouTube later. Así que estás escuchando en la radio. Vamos a salir del aire, pero si quieres sintonizar ahorita en vivo la entrevista a través de la página de TikTok, y por supuesto no se pierdan mañana AEW en el Fort Bend Epic Center, para que estén pendientes a eso. Toda la información la pondremos en las páginas sociales. Busquen TUDN Houston en TikTok, estamos como Cesar Procel, y en la página de YouTube encontrarán la entrevista también bajo Cesar Procel. Que tengan bonita tarde de martes. Hasta mañana. Esto fue Enganchados a través de TUDN Radio.
And I'll play this for you.
All right, let's do it. Go for it. That's your son?
That's my son singing karaoke.
Is that Thunder Rosa?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so he speaks fluent Spanish? Like
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Was it
He can talk to you just without me being here and understand everything. It's amazing to me when I see him go and talk to people. It makes me feel like a failure.
How old is he?
I want to go back to school and learn how to speak Spanish.
Man, I took French in high school, and I don't know jack about French at this point.
But he actually loves it. So like learning, he wants to go and talk to people that if we're in the airport and he see 2 Spanish people speaking to each other, he just goes and interrupts the conversation.
That's cool, though.
Hey,
That's
how
cool.
you doing? I'm Jacob.
I'll tell you what, though. A lot of people tell me, "Hey, I want to speak Spanish, but I just don't feel confident enough to say it, to Hispanics because I feel they're going to judge me." I'm like, on the contrary, if they know you're trying, they're gonna give you a pass. They're gonna help you. They're gonna teach you how to say it right. This is Joel. This is Sonic. He's our wrestling expert here at TUDN.
Oh, yeah.
So I had him come in. You can pick that mic up a little so you can Mark can hear you.
Man. Come on in.
Alrighty. So I know that you're an agent for AEW right now. Would that be the right title for you?
They call it agent, but it's more like a producer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I know that you have a lot of young talent coming up to you, and I heard an interview from another wrestler. I'm not going to mention the name. He left WWE because he said that he was going to look for the next Stone Cold, the next The Rock. And I think that's the wrong way to go about it.
It is.
Because I don't think the young talent nowadays should be focusing on being the next Stone Cold, the next The Rock, the next Chris Jericho. And I think some of the new guys are focusing on being the first Darby Allen, the first.
I've discovered a lot of wrestlers
Right.
that they were not wrestlers or had no idea what wrestling was.
Gotcha.
And I brought them in. And what I look for is when you go out and somebody walks in a room and everybody goes, "Wow, who's that?"
That
like
it
that's
factor.
got to be somebody.
Yeah.
They either look it they have that energy, or that person that you hear them before you see them.
Exactly.
I want them.
They got it.
Sometimes it's bad. But if they have it, I can teach you how to make it positive.
Yes.
So you know how to extract that extra that talent that they have and just kind of make that diamond shine a little bit.
Like everybody have gifts. You just have to be able to mold it and move it. Samantha Johnson, the announcer for WWE, Samantha Johnson, I heard her sing on American Idol.
Oh, is that where she came from?
That's where she came from. I reached out to her on social media because I heard her talking. And I said, oh, man, she's so articulate. And she has a great look, and she's young. I was like, have you ever thought about wrestling? Like, that's where you should be. She was like, I love wrestling. I never thought about it. Can I do it? I was like, yes.
Mm-hmm. See, that's important. Sometimes your calling isn't something that you're expecting.
Yeah.
Like, just like with her, some people, they have no idea they're meant to be on TV, or they're meant to be on radio, or they're meant to be singers, or they're meant to be wrestlers.
Why would you, as somebody that could make something happen, not do it? It's wrong. If you see a kid doing wrong, sometimes they don't have to be my kid.
Right.
If I see somebody else kid doing something that, they got a wire and they finna stick it in a light socket. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Come here. Where your mom and daddy at?
You got to jump in.
You got to jump in.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, it's your fault.
I agree. And also that's important what you're saying too, because a lot of times guys people don't want to help people.
Why?
Just because, and I'm like, why are you trying to hold someone down? If someone tells me, hey, listen, I want to be on the radio. Okay, cool. Show, send me a demo, send me a headshot, show me what you got. And then if they don't send it, well, that's on them.
And then they see you again and they go, hey, man, I still want to do that. Hey, I told you what to do, but you didn't do it.
You didn't do it. So you got to help me to help you, right?
Right.
And so I never understood that whole, I'm not going to help him because he's going to take my job. Look, if you're worried about someone taking your job, then you're probably not doing your job right.
You better be really good if you're going to take my job, because I show up early, 6 o'clock in the morning when I'm on radio. We have to do prep for our show. We review the news. We review what happened in the week. And I overanalyze and write down. I have a whole page full of stuff for 3 hours I would be able to have enough information for a week.
Right. And that's because you over-prepare.
Over-prepare.
And you have to do it. I mean, I have a 2-hour show. I have enough for probably 4 hours.
Yeah.
And sometimes left over for the week. It happens. But that's preparing. No one just gets a pass. I mean, we get a lot of kids that come in and say, hey, I want to be a radio host. I want to be a national TV host. Well, what have you done? I just graduated.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm like, it took me about 23 years to get where I am. So what have you done to get there?
Right.
You just don't get handouts.
I tell people all the time, like, sometimes you have to learn on-the-job training. School does not make you smart enough to be a radio host.
Does not.
Like, you have to have world experience. You have to be glib. You have to be understanding. You have to have some psychological balance.
Culture.
To be in culture and know other cultures. And I feel like sometimes the kids don't get it. What I'm going to do, if I see you, hey, I know you're busy, but I like to do what you do, be on the radio. Man, if I can come and shadow you and I'll go pick up your laundry, I'll go wash your car, what I need to do to come and be able to learn how to work a board, how to be able to understand how to get guests and to reach out. Like, you got to learn it.
It's a few in between now that want to put in the work. You start off in radio. I started off in 2000. I was working the night shift. I was working the 10 to 6 in the morning. Graveyard shift. My only job was to basically keep the station on the radio, and every once in a while the PD will say, hey, I need you to start telling people the weather. I'm like, it's 2 in the morning. I'm at an AM station. No one's listening. He's like, that's all right. I'm listening. I'm like, all right. So 2 o'clock in the morning, hey, there's no traffic again because it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Practice.
But here we are.
Practice.
You
repetition.
You put in the work. You put in the work. And some people now, they're not they're not willing to put in the work, and then they don't make it, and they question, well, I didn't make it because nobody helped me.
That's something that I have not faced yet at AEW. I have not faced it once. The young people, they come and they go, hey, in 1998, did you do this? Like somebody said, is this true? Like, and I'm, how does that helping today? And they'll go, well, I actually want to try to do some of the things that you were doing. I just wanted to get instruction on how that worked. I get people all the time come and they want to do better. They want to learn. That's one of the better things about being at AEW.
What's one of the biggest misconceptions of wrestling from back then when you started and even now?
That it's about only the promoter. The promoter has the supreme power. And that's not the truth. The truth is the talent of the wrestler. Because if you're really good and every time you go out, the crowd is like, you're the guy, the promoter has to put you in there.
You're an artist.
It's art. And it's based off psychology. People think that wrestling is big guys in tight clothes, dumb as a bag of rocks. It's quite the contrary.
There are a few.
There's a few dummies. And you need somebody like me to say, hey, man, make a right. Make a right. Your other right.
Yeah.
But, like, for the most part, you have to tell stories by using motion and pantomime. The stories are good versus evil, fast versus slow. You know, it's like the Bible. You know, it's the good and the bad.
Right.
You have to be able to learn how to tell those stories, but the way that you want to tell it in wrestling. If you do that, you win.
So if you want to become a wrestler, you start off with a wrestling school, meaning learn the moves, be athletic, be in shape.
Yeah.
And then you also, do you teach guys, okay, this is how you do a promo, this is how you hold a mic, this is how you talk on camera, this is how you stand. Do you have to teach all of it?
All of it. And not anybody, but there's a lot of people that teach how. I teach why you do it, where you do it, when you do it. Those are the things that make you great, not how.
Didn't you try out for wrestling school?
Well, actually, I went to Booker T's wrestling camp.
All right.
Down in Texas City. I think this was about 5 years ago. And I was actually going to touch that subject because, my God, that day we were supposed to meet with Booker T. We ended up meeting with Boogeyman. And he made us do military training.
Yeah.
We did about
So you know about that, huh?
So I know his style. You know why he did that? He wanted to see if you really wanted to be there.
Oh, everyone.
I want to run you out. I want to run you away. I don't want to waste my time with somebody that don't want to really do it.
So you didn't come back?
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did come
But
back.
Boogeyman wasn't there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He came back when he wasn't there.
You walk in and you like this. You look like,
is he there? Is he there?
Oh, whew.
He's probably under the
He's
ring.
not here.
That's a recurring story, though. I do hear a lot of wrestlers saying that when they first came in, they were trying to run them off.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, back when I came in, they try to beat you up. They will beat you unmercifully.
Like, it actually hit you with hard
punch you in the
elbows
eye,
and punch. And
you know, bloody your lips and nose and stuff, and trip you and take you down and rub your face on the ground, you know, just real hazing type stuff. And then now it's more politically correct. It's, you know, you do something like that, you might go to jail. You might get charges pulled on you.
So it's gotten better.
It's gotten better. And I look at it as being better. But I still try to run them off. Like, we're going to work out really hard if you come to a class that I put on.
So are you teaching? They have your own school, or
no? I do seminars.
Seminars and guest
I do
appearances?
2-day or 3-day seminars. We'll teach the why, when, and where of wrestling. But I teach people that's already established wrestlers.
Okay.
So, you know, a lot of it is phone calls. It's psychology training. Like, they tell me what they want to do with their career. And then I say, well, tell me a match. Like, between you and Rey Mysterio. Give me a match.
Tell me the story.
I want to hear it all. Oh, you versus Andre the Giant.
Right.
And they tell me, and I go, why would you do that with him? It don't make sense.
Why are you trying to suplex Andre the Giant?
Why? Why would you do that?
What makes you think he's going to let you, first of all?
So, and it's dangerous for people to try to do things that's out of the realm of possibility for certain wrestlers.
So you teach them their own limits, basically.
Right. You got to know. You ever heard the know your role and shut your mouth, The Rock?
Yeah.
You know who used to say that?
He's some famous guy. Who used to say that?
Ron Simmons.
No.
Man.
The Rock took
The
that
APA
from Ron
was
Simmons.
my absolute favorite tag team, man.
Yeah,
Him and
man.
Bradshaw.
Ron was super smart. He was a tough leader. But you need tough leadership.
Who are the leaders right now in AEW in the locker room? Besides
Oh man,
yourself, I'm sure.
Kenny Omega is awesome. Brian Danielson is super good.
That's another guy that
FTR.
came back against all odds too, huh?
Yeah, man, broke his neck. They had to fuse the vertebrae and do all of that stuff, and here he is back on top again. FTR.
Okay.
I really love the Lucha Brothers. They are strong men, and you know they lead very tough.
Cero Miedo. You got that one down?
Hey, tough. I saw him talk. There were two young wrestlers talking, and he overheard the guy say he was going to do this, and he went, "Hey, I do that. You don't do what I do."
You know what's funny?
And I went, "Oh shoot,
Better not to overstep."
Don't
You know what? It's funny you say that. I've had one in-ring experience, right? They asked us, you know, when you're in radio, they ask you to do crazy stuff that you probably normally wouldn't do on a regular basis. So they asked me to have a wrestling match. I was more like the manager, and it was another guy dressed as Spider-Man against some guy dressed like Nacho Libre. We're on the same card as Blue Demon, the Mexican wrestler, and a couple other legends. So we're like trying to figure out, okay, hit him with a chair, with a trash can. What do we do? We're gonna break a table, and he said, no. He came just like you said. He turned. He said, no. Y'all can't do that. That's our spot. He says, find something else. I said, like what? He says, it's your problem.
I don't care.
It's
That's
your
up to
problem.
you."
Ended up sticking with a metal trash can, but yeah, that's how the leaders in the locker room say they control basically they control the show as well, because it's to their convenience to make sure we get a good product, right?
I've also seen him walk through and he see trash on the ground, and he go, "Hey, everybody, there's trash on the floor. We leave the building the way we found it."
That's good.
I love men like that.
That's good discipline.
Yes, sir. And he holds people accountable and makes it feel good. I get goosebumps because people like that, that's who I follow.
Would you say you're a wrestling fan that took it too far?
Did I ever take it too far?
Yeah, I'm saying, were you a wrestling fan that took it too far and became a wrestler? Would you see it that way?
No. I was an athlete that the people that run wrestling saw and said, "Wow, he would be good if he was a wrestler." And I was brought into wrestling.
And you got to work with some of the biggest names in the country and in the world, really,
in the world.
sports. I mean, you were in that
Of
era
all time.
with The Rock when first came in. You were with Stone Cold.
I had 4 coaches. 3 of the 4 coaches are in the Hall of Fame as talents, and Stu Hart as a coach and a talent.
Stu Hart.
Legendary.
So I've been very blessed. And
Did you go train
I
in the
try to-
dungeon?
I did. Me and Jericho are the only 2 people that's wrestling today that still that trained in the dungeon.
Yeah, because Jericho, he's Canadian as well.
Natty Neidhart and TJ, but they were children when
Right.
I was there, when I lived in Canada and trained.
Was he really as hard? Was Stu really as hard as they say he was?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Where's the boogeyman?
Him, Rip Rogers too. Rip Rogers, hard to digest. He was a crude to individual, just to put it lightly. A lot of people couldn't stand to be around Rip because he was just so crude. But the way that he looked at wrestling is the way that you see people like Belichick coach football.
It's their passion. It's their
The
love.
way you see Popovich in San Antonio coach basketball. They geniuses, and they know how to get this guy to do the best for this guy and to get this guy to do the best for him. That's hard to do. That's the hard part of organized sports, is getting people to know their roles, do what you do best, and I will put you in a position so you can be successful. And then you can teach later on.
But you got to trust the process.
You got to trust the process.
Sonic?
You have had so many amazing matches throughout your career. And just like he said, you had matches with Stone Cold, The Rock, Chris Jericho. What would be the most memorable one for you? The one that you said, this is the one that stands out.
Me and The Undertaker at WrestleMania 22.
Oh, the casket match.
The casket match was probably the most famous match I had because of who I was in there with. But I had a match in Spain in a bullfighting arena with Rey Mysterio. And just to paint the picture of what happened, it's outdoor arena. And there's no roof on the ring post or nothing. It's just wide open. And about 5 minutes into the match, it starts thundering and lightning a little bit.
Oh, my God.
And then it starts to rain like mist, like really light rain. And I'm trying to get Rey Mysterio, and I can't because he's so fast. And I try to get him in the whole crowd, and I kind of tripped. And I landed on my stomach, and I looked up at Ray, and he went,
Ole.
Ole! And we did it 5 times.
Oh, man.
The crowd, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And when I finally got him, there was 6 people that jumped over the barricade to come to rescue him. I had to start hitting people.
I was going to ask, so when fans jump in, what do you do?
You whoop them. You whoop them.
Because they're there to attack you, obviously.
They
right?
we have security, but the security they were watching the match.
Oh, man.
And that's when I knew, because people were able to get to me, I knew the security was like, oh my God, this is awesome. They were gone. So that was, I feel like, the best match I ever had, because it had everybody. Like, how many times do you ever see a match on TV and somebody jumps in the ring to go and rescue the person? Not very often.
Mm-mm. They got
6 people.
6 people try to rescue Rey Mysterio
because that was real. They wanted him to be okay.
You're telling the story,
and that's I feel like that was the best work I ever did.
You worked with Eddie?
I did, and. But it was more comical. It was like me and Eddie. He was like, "Whoa, you're too big," and then he started doing all of this, lie, steal, cheat stuff, get me distracted. And then he told me to look behind. And you're not supposed to fall for the oldest trick in the book. Hey, watch out behind you. Of course, I fell for, watch out behind you, and I got beat.
Like I said, you're one of the few guys that you came in that perfect moment in wrestling where it was just a whole switch and everything was just 100% maximized. Well, Mark, I'm glad you're down here in Houston. I know you got a big show tomorrow. AEW Fort Bend Epic Center. It's a brand new arena, by the way. So you guys are
we're gonna break it in.
Yeah, you're breaking it in. It's the first wrestling show there.
Yeah, we're gonna dirty it up a little bit.
Well, watch out for Cesar Miedo. He's gonna ask you to pick up the trash.
Hey, I don't mind picking the trash. If he's there with me to pick the trash, we're all good.
That's awesome. So any matches lined up for tomorrow already, or that you know?
You know what? Chris Jericho will be in action. Kenny Omega will be in action. Adam Copeland will be there. MJF. Like, it's the whole full roster of Dynamite, and you're going to get the 2 for 1. Like, after Dynamite is over, then you'll shoot the 1 hour Rampage show.
Nice.
So people are going to get 2 shows for the price of 1.
That's awesome.
And tickets are going to start as low as $20. You could take a family of 5 for $100. For $100, you can't go to a basketball game or a football game.
Not even close. Especially a baseball game.
Just
right
one
now.
person.
I think the screen switched.
Oh yeah, and there's the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. So there's going to be a Battle Royal with 12 wrestlers that to be named later, and that's always a good thing.
Battle Royal is always fun. Did you ever win a Royal Rumble?
No, Kurt Angle beat me in the Royal Rumble, where the closest I got, and also Penta Cero Miedo is going to be wrestling Jay White.
Okay.
So that's, the Switchblade. It's hard to beat, man. And Sprint, and we was talking about Sting. Sting has something to say.
Oof.
I don't know if I should be afraid or excited.
I'm excited. I want to see what's going to happen.
Sting, man, that's one of the legendaries. Still, I can't believe him and Jericho. They've gone for so long.
Yeah, I think that Jericho, these last 3 years at AEW were better than his last 3 years at WWE.
He just keeps reinventing himself.
And not only inventing himself and doing good for him, but think of all of the guys that he's wrestled with, that he's made them look like $1 million. He gave life to at least 15, 20 guys.
He made superstars.
It's incredible.
He made superstars. Are there any match that you always wanted to have but you just never got the chance to?
Everything that I would all be fantasy warfare. Like either people are either dead or really, really old. So I would have never got a chance to wrestle Sergeant Slaughter, even though he was one of my favorites to watch. The Iron Sheik, God rest his soul, just passed away.
Yeah.
Like people like that. Like it was childhood stuff. Like I've been around for the last 28 years. So for almost 3 decades, I was able to wrestle different people. So I touched pretty much everybody.
Yeah, and you've also lost a lot of friends along the way. I mean, you just mentioned obviously Iron Sheik, Bray Wyatt not so long ago.
Yeah.
Mae Young.
My grandmother told me when I was a young kid, like one of these days, you're gonna lose a lot of people if you live long enough.
And it never gets easier.
Keep on living.
Keep on living. Do you ever go back to Silsby?
Yeah, I just left Silsby. And speaking of losing someone, I lost a aunt. A bunch of my family members live here in Houston. I drove through here, met up with family, and drove down to Silsby and had the funeral. And that was just like 3 weeks ago.
Well, I'm sorry to hear. Sorry to hear. Mark Henry here with us today. Mark, well, once again, everyone's welcome to Fort Bend Epic Center tomorrow night for AEW Dynamite and Rampage. That's a 2-for-1. I didn't know it was a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
Now it makes it even sweeter, right?
Yeah. I mean, you get more bang for your buck.
When are we going to see you on the big screen, by the way?
You know what, man? In January, there's a big documentary about my life on A&E. That's kind of the next big screen thing.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty interesting. You're gonna find out stuff you didn't know.
Well, tell me something.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I got to save it.
Tell me something I don't know.
I got to keep it in the can till January.
That's awesome, man. I'll be sure to check that out. Well, Mark, honestly, congratulations. Amazing career. Not a lot of people get a chance to have a flourishing career like yourself and still hang out afterwards and sound happy about it.
Yeah,
right?
I'm happy about my life, man. If I died tomorrow, I would not want people to cry for me. I would want them to celebrate my life.
Do fans call you sexual chocolate? What do they call you when they see you on the screen?
Only people that are really old school wrestling fans, they'll come up and ask me about Mae Young and the whole sexual chocolate thing. But
how's the hand?
It's fine.
That was a crazy time, man. Those crazy times back then. Well, Mark, I'm glad you see. I know it's funny. If it's funny to you, it's funny.
I'm gonna
to
give
us.
you a hand
for remembering. Man, it was good times, good times. Well, Mark, once again, congratulations. I'm glad
Thank
you're doing
you,
well in
man.
AEW, and can't wait to see it tomorrow night.
I mean, come on out.
Shout out to the people in Houston and everyone around the area.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
All right, brother.